This screencast will show you how to create your differentiated supervision plan in PA-ETEP. Act 13 has made some changes to our evaluations. However, the process for creating your differentiated supervision plan has not changed. The addition of Act 13, however, allows you to use a portion of your differentiated supervision plan as your student performance measure if you've included a measurable piece. I'll share more about that when we get there, and there will be a separate screencast showing you how to create your student performance measures. So to get to your differentiated supervision plan, you're going to log into PA-ETEP, paetep.com/redlion. You have to make sure and have that red lion, otherwise it'll take you to the wrong landing page. If you see the lion, then you're in the right place. So log into your PA-ETEP and click on My Observations. This will hold everything for your observations. Again, there will be screencasts as well about other parts of the evaluation. Today, we're going to focus only on the differentiated supervision process. Now, if you can see here, there is not one assigned yet. If you do not have a differentiated supervision assigned, reach out to your supervisor or principal, and he or she has to assign it. This begin is in an inopportune place because it looks like it's attached to this observation, so some people have accidentally clicked that. If that is the case, and you've clicked that, what that does is that it opens up a non-teaching professional observation, which doesn't pertain to our teaching professionals. And so you'll see it here. Reach out to your supervisor, and your supervisor can delete it. So on the supervisor's page, it shows there, and your supervisor can simply delete that. Back on your page, it'll be gone. So reach out to your supervisor and ask him or her to assign your differentiated supervision if you don't see it. So I'm going to do that now. All right, so it's been sent to the practitioner. And if I show up here, so now the differentiated supervision has been assigned. So I'm going to click on Continue Editing. So this is where I'm going to put my plan in. So this looks the same as it has in previous years. However, there's a couple of additions and instructions up here. This rubric language for and types of evidence and examples for teachers, click here. They've attached the updated Danielson rubric, the updated evaluation rubric here. So if you click on Download PDF, you can see the updated language, the updated rubrics for each of the different domains and components. I recommend you look through this. The language has been updated, and some of the ways to get proficient or distinguished have been made more rigorous. So I do recommend that you take a look at this as you're creating your plan and as you look for your own growth as a professional as well. So coming back over to here, also there is a getting started. So if you click here, it'll open up step-by-step directions for creating your differentiated supervision plan. So that's what I'm going to go over today, but you also have that in PA-ETEP. The first thing you're going to do is to choose the type of differentiated supervision plan you're going to create. So if you click over here, action research, peer coaching, portfolio, or other. We've decided that the teaching difficult subjects can be a type of differentiated supervision plan. So it'll fit under one of these or fit under other, and that's fine as well. To learn more about these, to see some examples of an action research project, a portfolio, or peer coaching, with everybody, there's been shared a PA-ETEP folder in Google Drive. And so everything for PA-ETEP is in here. And we're updating all of this with Act 13. But under this professional employees, folder number 1, the plan from last year is still here. We have to update this with the new Act 13 and PA-ETEP, and that will be coming. However, the directions for differentiated supervision are the same. So if you click into the 2021 plan, you can see that the self-directed or differentiated supervision plans start on page 21. If you go to the self-directed development and action research, you can see it'll give you a definition of self-directed. It'll tell you what kind of things are eligible for action research, different ways to do action research. And these 3 links will take you to examples of action research project that professionals can do. So one's from Education Reform, EdWeek, and Study.com. So there are some examples of action research projects and how they're done. And then the directions for PA-ETEP, so the same directions that we're going to go over right now. And then peer coaching, again, defining it, giving you directions on how to do it, and the peer coaching forms. And then professional portfolio definition, and then examples of professional portfolios that professionals can create. So these are all in the supervision plan from last year, and this will be updated with the directions for Act 13, but the directions for creating your differentiated supervision plans have not changed. So going back into our plan, you can choose any of the three. I'm going to choose action research. Then up here, you're going to choose your component focus. So for my action research, I am going to find ways to engage my students. So I'm going to click on student engagement. So that's going to be my component focus. And in that engagement, I am also going to work on the culture for learning. So these are the two focuses that I'm going to work on in my plan that I want to improve or get better. So those are the two components I'm going to focus on. Now down here, this is the same as it has been in previous years. This is your plan. You're going to click add comment, and you're going to type in your plan details all the way through. So describing your goal, your rationale, your steps, timeline, and indicators of effectiveness. What will success look like if this plan is successful? So here is a filled out plan. This is a model plan from a couple of years ago. So taking a look at the project goal, this is a primary teacher who wants to include sight word assessments. And so the goal is of the action plan is to learn and to utilize new technology applications, Seesaw, as a tool for completing one-on-one sight word assessments with first graders. And so this teacher highlighted the goal, described the rationale for why the goal was necessary, created steps by which she will implement a plan to try to achieve the goal, implemented a timeline, so when things would happen, and then indicators of effectiveness are measures of student success. Now, I really want to point out this part of this as well, because there is a quantitative aspect to this plan. This plan could be used for both the differentiated supervision plan and the student-specific measure, the student performance measures, the SPM. That will come. The directions for the SPM will come in a different screencast, but teachers can, if they're purposeful, teachers can double dip and create the same plan that'll take care of both parts of their evaluation. So there is a quantitative measure to this, and so the students will read this amount. By the end of the plan, the students will improve by this certain amount. This teacher can use this plan for that as well. I do want to point out that it doesn't just have to be quantitative as well. There are qualitative measures and qualitative plans that professionals can implement that can also be used for their student performance measure. The example given by the state was from the 2019 Teacher of the Year, who was a social studies teacher. And the goal that teacher highlighted was to get more diverse literature into, or more diverse first-person narratives and more diverse stories into his students' hands. And his rationale behind it was he did a pre-assessment at the beginning of the year and asked kids to tell him, who they think about when they think about America. And 85% of his students chose George Washington or Abraham Lincoln. And he put, most students didn't think of a woman. Most students didn't think of any African Americans. Most students didn't think of any minority group. They thought of those two people. And so part of his plan was to diversify the reading materials and the stuff that his students would access throughout the year, to help them to have a more varied view of what America is. And so he completed his steps to achieve the goal, went through his timeline, and then his indicators of effectiveness, his measurement was student portfolios. And so he collected student portfolios throughout the school year that represented diverse voices and other voices of what America could be. And so that worked as his differentiated supervision plan, and will work as his students' performance measures. So he doesn't have to come up with two plans. He doesn't have to come up with an SLO and a differentiated supervision plan. He came up with just one that worked for both. So work with your supervisor on this. Come up if you have a quantitative measure, a way to measure effectiveness and to identify what distinguished and proficient and needs improvement and failing would be, then this plan can also be utilized as your student, your SPM, your student's performance measure. So this is the indicators of effectiveness. So then now that the teacher has filled, the professional has filled this all in. Oh, you can also attach files along the way. So if you have any pertinent files that will help any of your steps, you can attach them along the way as well. And then this professional will submit. And what this does is this pushes it out to their supervisor. And so now the supervisor is going, and it's telling me that some of them are still in draft. That's fine. I did not publish along the way. I'm just publishing the one time, and then automatically it's hidden back here, but there's a check mark. It automatically jumped me to the mid-year progress. And so what happened on your administrator side is your administrator got notification that you have a plan in here. And so the administrator can now go in and they can review your plan. They can add comments. They can ask you to give more details. They can ask you to hone in on your implementation timeline, your indicator of effectiveness, whatever feedback your administrator has. It's at this point that you would meet with your administrator, and feedback can be oral as well. And so that way, they approve the plan, with you. You guys work in conjunction to approve this plan. Then your next step is your mid-year progress update. So halfway through the school year, you're going to provide an update of your progress toward meeting the goal of your action plan. This is also your step. So things aren't working out the way that you had initially planned. You can adjust your plan in here. It's not set in stone. You can adjust as you go to make sure that you're working toward a positive outcome. Here's a completed mid-year progress update that just takes the administrator through what you've done so far and what your next steps are, or any adjustments that you have to make. So once you're done with that, you click submit again. And you get another green check mark, and it jumps you down to the year-end progress. This is where you will put in the final results and then recommendations. This recommendations is a big one. What are you going to do with this? So what? What came of this, and how is it going to help you as a teacher grow? How did it help you as a teacher grow? And how can you help your colleagues grow from this as well? How can you share this, what you've learned and how you've grown with others to help them grow? So same process as other ones. You add a comment. I'll bring over the example in real time this time. And then once this is all complete, and again, you can attach files here. You can attach a data file here, or any pertinent files that go along with your plan or your outcome are fine. And so then you're going to submit again. And anytime you can save along the way. And I've got 3 check marks. And the last thing to do is your self-assessment rubric. So you click on your self-assessment rubric after you turn in your year-end progress, and you'll assess yourself, but only on the components on which your plan focused. So at the beginning, I said that this plan was going to focus on environment of culture and learning, culture for learning. So I'm going to look at the different the different descriptors of what culture for learning was and how my plan met those descriptors. So I'm gonna choose that I was proficient in this measure, and then I'm going to provide commentary down here. So to the evidence that it met the proficient score, or distinguished score, evidence that it met the distinguished score. So you're going to add that in a comment down here. And then also we said engaging students. That was the other part of my plan that I was going to focus on. And so looking at the evidence of what proficient looks like in engagement, what needs improvement looks like in engagement, what distinguished looks like in engagement. And I'm going to give myself a self-assessment proficient in engagement, and then I'm going to get evidence down here. Once I'm all done, I'm going to submit all. It's going to give me a warning and say, you haven't answered most of the questions. That's okay. We're only answering the questions that we focused on for our plan. So you have not completed all the fields of the rubric. Are you sure you want to submit? Yes, submit all. This is just the self-evaluation for your plan. Once you've done that, you'll have all green check marks across. It means your end of the plan is completed. Your supervisor will also get a notification saying that you're ready to go and you're ready to meet to discuss, and your supervisor will be able to access your mid-year, your year-end, and your self-assessment rubric. Your supervisor will be able to assess your plan on your self-assessment on your rubric as well, just the components of the plan that are pertinent to the plan. And the two of you will meet, and that will finalize your differentiated supervision plan for the school year. I hope this is helpful. Good luck.